Number 8. You ready? Number 8. Have empathy and compassion, not confrontation. Have empathy and compassion, not confrontation. Whenever we create conflict in a relationship, we start confronting because we're angry or hurt and tearing down on our confrontation. You recognize that sometimes confrontation, it creates anger, it creates hurt, it creates division. But whenever I keep confronting you about what you're doing or the way you are, the way of being, you know what I'm not doing? I'm not thinking about where it's coming from for you. I'm not thinking about why you are the way you are. Or I'm not thinking about what's the pain underneath the behavior. Make an example. Now, ladies, take what I'm about to say with goodwill. All right. Women nag and guys hate nagging. I mean, guys just hate nagging, right? So what happens is the guys complain about why he's nagging because guys don't like nagging. And they'll confront the nagging, tell them to try and get her to quit, all that kind of stuff, right? But what he doesn't understand is basically this. Her nagging, listen to what I'm about to say now, her nagging isn't the real problem. It's a symptom of the real problem. What's the real problem? The nagging is really symptomatic. Listen, guys. It's easier to pick on guys, right? Than to pick on the ladies. Safer for me. Guys, the nagging is really the pain of an unmet need for attention from you. But we're complaining about the nagging, but we don't care that she feels rejected. We don't care that she doesn't feel important because we're not meeting the need for attention. And what I learned was if I spent less time nagging and I spent more time meeting the deeper underlying need for attention, the nagging went away. And what I learned was meet the need. But it's only compassion and empathy to help you discern that. Where is this coming from? Empathy steps into the other person's shoes and feels what they feel. And empathy is different than compassion, by the way. Empathy, it says I can step into your shoes and understand how it is for you. I can imagine it. I can get a sense of what it's like for you. But I've never been there. Compassion, though, is empathy with action. What I call that. Empathy may not call you to do something, but compassion says, I get how it is for you. I care. What can I do? What can I do? Maybe I need to start acting on meeting the needs for attention. Long time ago, 25 years now, I think it's been, when I learned this idea that underneath problem behavior is really the pain of an unmet need. And relate well, by the way, we talk about what those 10 core relational needs are that are hardwired into the emotional brain, all right? Attention is one of them, all right? Comfort's one of them. Support is one of them. And so Luella called me many years ago, 25 years ago on the phone. I was at work and she had this tone in her voice, right? You know how tone is. She had this tone in her voice. And it was like, can we talk? And I thought, no, but I didn't want to say it because at that point I was really trying to grow and become a better man. And I said, yeah. And she started complaining about me not making the bed. Folks, I hate making beds. I did in the military. I can make a bed better than her. But on this particular day, 20-something years ago, I wasn't listening for the complaining. I was listening for the need. And I said to her, I said, hey, hold on a minute. She said, what? And I said, if I made the bed, would you feel supported? Yes, Rick. You hear the shift in the emotion. Yes, Rick. You don't know what that would mean to me. All these years since then, 95% of the time when I'm home, I make the bed. Not because I like making beds, because I don't. But when I'm home, I make the bed. Why? Because when I make the bed, the woman that I love feels supported. It was compassion that caused me to act on it. The empathy wanted me to understand it. Empathy creates understanding. Yeah, I can understand and care how something is for you, empathy. It doesn't mean I necessarily agree with you. Whenever you confront, what you're really saying is, I don't care about anything else except what you're doing. Stop it. Suck it up. Get over it. The problem is the pain of the unmet need that's behind that behavior goes unmet, and all you've really done is sent this message. I don't care. And when you keep sending the message, I don't care, don't complain about what you get long term. Because when a person finally figures out you really don't care, they may not stick around in your life. And if they do, you're not going to have a close relationship. Because you never really want to be around a person who keeps sending you the message that they don't care. All right, next and last. All of those things cannot happen until you do number 9. You ready? Practice humility. Practice humility. Let humility become a way of life. Become a very humble person. Now, here's the thing about humility. People who live a life of humility are very powerful people. They're not easily triggered. They have self-control. They have social awareness, not just self-awareness. Powerful people are humble people. Weak people are prideful. Humble people don't tend to take things personal. Weak people do. My background is a psychologist, a ministry therapist, but I'm also a minister. There's a passage in the Christian scriptures that says God gives grace to the humble, but he resists the proud. I'd rather have God's grace than his resistance. But you ever notice that in pride, you get the resistance of other people no matter what? Because pride says, I'm better than you. I can handle this. I don't need anyone else. Humble people recognize they don't know everything and ask for help. Humble people aren't going to be bothered by somebody who wants to go to the front of the line. Let them go. Why? Because here's the power of humility. Humble people know their strengths and they know their weaknesses, and they're actually okay with both. Humility requires a modest assessment of one's strengths and challenges. And you're not bothered by either. You're able to accept them. It's a very powerful way to live life, to live a life of humility. All right. So now let's go over those 9 things that you can start doing. And if you make these habits, you'll have a really strong, healthy marriage. And I would argue any relationship. All right, here we go. Number 1, speak well of each other. Number 2, learn about yourself. Learn your strengths, your weaknesses, your fears, your expectations. Number 3, remember, you are responsible for your own happiness. Number 4, forgive. Forgive. Release resentment and bitterness through forgiveness. Number 5, practice a life of being grateful and appreciative. Number 6, practice patience and kindness in all aspects of your life. And if you need to practice patience, go to Walmart. If you need to practice kindness, get in a traffic jam. Number 7, self-care. Make sure you take care of yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually. Number 8, have empathy and compassion, not confrontation all the time. And lastly, those 8 things can't happen without humility. Practice humility and let it become a way of life. All right. So those are some things. Now, what if I don't know how to do all that? Well, that's what Relate Well is actually about. Relate Well is a 9-session curriculum that we developed that actually teaches people how to develop humility, goodwill, respect, and empathy. And if you live a life of those 4 things, I call them the 4 protectors of an us. When you learn to live your life by those 4 ways, those words as a way of being, right? It's not having goodwill, it's being goodwill. There is a difference. See, God doesn't have love, he is love. And because he is love, no matter what he does is loving. Some people have love, but they're not love. You see, love as a way of being is more powerful than having love, but you're not really that as a way of being. I think you get the message. And so Relate Well teaches the skills for healthy communication and emotional regulation, so you can communicate and solve problems and protect the relationship in mature ways. You know how to bond and attach by meeting needs. You'll understand that conflict is about the pain of unmet needs, and we identify those 10 relational needs, and we refer to them in an acronym called CARES, but we identify those. And then we teach the skills how to live that. I call it the concrete slab for building a healthy relationships in all aspects of your life. You see, and if we learn to develop those fundamental skills, these things we talked about today are much easier to do because you have the skills and the knowledge and the ability to do them.